picture. I don't need no video. I don't need no shit right now. I don't need no picture. I don't need no video. I don't need no shit right now. I don't need no picture. I don't need no video. I don't need no shit right now.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of 100 Films from My Childhood. My name is Ndia. You know the name is so nice, you gotta say it twice. Ndia. Yeah, welcome back to the channel. Hope you subscribed. If you haven't, please do click that subscription button. Like this video after watching, of course, and click the notification bell in order for you to get notifications every time we put a video up. And today's film from the list of 100 films from my childhood, it's a film called Ngaka. Ngaka as in a doctor, as in a healer. Ngaka is a film that was made in 1979. Yeah. It's one of those B-schemes films that were made in the mid-late 70s into the early 80s and so forth. You know, these are one of the very first few films, you know, I think this was like the prime where black people were starting to get into films and getting into cinema and so forth. And, you know, we're starting to getting black actors, you know, into South African TV and South African movies. You know, these were B-scheme films, which I think the B kind of stands for black, but also it just pretty much, you know, meant second tier or third tier films that were meant for black audiences. So Ngaka is one of those films that I watched as a child, you know, but Ngaka, I watched it a little bit late. I think I was around 12, 13. Well, it's not really that late, you know, I'm still pretty much a child. But yeah, beginning of my, you know, teenage ages, that's when I watched the movie called Ngaka. I remember I had to watch it in a VCR videotape, you know. Yeah, it was someone had dubbed it, you know, obviously from back in the days, you know, and I had to watch it from the VCR tape. And because I had watched Ngaka before, which I loved to the beats, you know, so I could already familiarize with the character Shefane. So Ngaka is a story about, this traditional doctor called Shefane, of course, who meets another, you know, doctor. And Shefane is a Zulu traditional healer, and he meets this man, Ngaka, who is a Tswana traditional healer. You know, he comes to Shefane with a proposal to say, hey man, come work with me. My clients, well, I don't like calling them clients, but lack of a better word for now, my clients have kind of ran away. They're no longer coming into my ndumba, they're no longer coming into my, you know, traditional healing house, you know, because the community believes that my wife is cursed or something along those lines, you know. And he travels all the way to go meet this Shefane, that he had so many, you know, good news about, that he's a good traditional healer and so forth. So he goes to meet this guy, and he wants to bring him into his own home, you know, so that they can help each other, you know, so that he can help him to bring back his customers back, or his clients back, you know, so that, you know, his healing business, you know, can actually, you know, continue. So, you know, they come up, you know, to that. So the conflict between the two, one is Zulu, one being Tswana. First, language is a barrier between the two. Characters, traits are a barrier between the two. So it's, you know, they have, you know, very dynamic, you know, characteristics that make these two characters to be very, very, very interesting. So yeah, Mshefana, played by Ndaba Mshongo, he plays Mshefana Ngaka, you know, and that's how he goes by. So he agrees to go with this man, and one of the scenes that I love so much from the movie, I think it's right at the beginning when this man comes to, you know, comes up with this business proposal to Shefane, and he arrives there and he says, Ram Shefane, ke batla o Ngokuthusa. And then Shefana goes like, Ngokuthusa. Oh, ngokuthusileke. Hamba. I think those are the first lines that actually just shows the language barrier, between the two. The man leaves and comes back, and Shefana goes like, hey man, utangwathusa. Ngokuthusileke. Hamba. But the man insists, because he wants to put up his proposal, which eventually Mshefana agrees to. So he goes to this man's place, and they collaborate, and he actually puts up a signage like on top of the shop there, and he writes his name. Mshefana, Ngaka, Obviously, as a typical Zulu man, he couldn't spell kholo, like it's in Ngaka, kholo, And I think he ends up along the story, he starts calling himself Ngaka Yezu. It's another formidable comedy that I watched when I was young. Really enjoyed the movie, really loved it to bits. So Mshefana arrives in this Tswana town, and then now next door it's actually a small clinic, and he actually, kind of interested, or rather attracted to this young nurse who works next door. And Mshefana now wants Ngaka to actually give him muti in order to uphonsa le ntombazane ukuze imthande, So it becomes a really interesting conversation when they must, he needs to explain it to Ngaka now, and the language barrier. It's so hilarious. And she says things like, if I remember them very well, he says things like, ngifuna unginike umuthi woloya ngwanyana. And then Ngaka won, hey mna sikabuya kabuloyi. And then Mshefana, yimake funa ungizwisise ngibadla wena ni ha Harbithi hengilobe ubatla ngwanula Harbithi awulobe. And I would die with laughter. I would die with laughter. It's another hilarious. I think here's the thing about movies of that time, they didn't really have much of like the typical, story paradigm, as in like typical hero's journey, but the stories, I think stories in general, they carry those elements, but I think how those films were written and made, they didn't necessarily follow all those rules, 3x structure whatsoever, but it was just an issue of good story, good concept, and good plotting, and I loved the movie to bits, and it was just hilarious to watch, language dynamics, between two people who are trying to work together, but they can't really communicate because of language barrier. But to a certain extent, because they are both, traditional healers, they eventually, kind of find a way to make it work, and then they agree that this one is going to work from the front and the other one is going to work at the back, even though later on in the movie, it just ends up becoming a mess because Mshefana now and again must go and bet horses, and he's chasing this nest next door. So that kind of like, removes him from focusing on what he's supposed to really do, and Ngaka actually has a problem with that. And they actually, end up fighting, and Mshefana is fired eventually. One of the interesting scenes when we get to the Tswana world is that when we get, the first time we see the clinic, there's this old man who comes into the clinic and he's got a headache, right? And this nurse is holding it like a syringe, and she wants to jab this man. And then she goes like, and this old man goes like, eh? Get and then the nurse keeps on insisting, and this man goes like, what's that? I'm not tompo man. You know, the doctor just ends up suggesting that, you know, screw the syringe, you know, he can't inject this man up in his ass, and they end up just giving him like pill tablets like Panado and stuff, and then he walks out of the clinic and he's like, and then he takes and then he takes like ilapi indwangu and he takes actually the tablet and puts it like on the cloth and he wraps it up around his head. Funniest thing I've ever seen. Funniest thing. You would swear that one of you'd swear that these films were just written by comedians, you know, because when I think of Simon Sabela as an actor, actually Simon, when I think of him as an actor, he's always acted these serious characters, you know, never seen the guy smile and whatnot, you know. Well, as a kid, I only knew him as an actor, and only to find out later that actually he was a director, and he actually directed most of these B-Schemes films. He was one of the very first black directors to actually, you know, to direct films, particularly, you know, within the KZN region. You know, he did great things. I mean, that's why even today there's a big, you know, award ceremony that takes place every year, you know, during the Durban International Film Festival, the Simon Sabela Awards. You know, they are the biggest thing as far as filmmaking and television is concerned, you know, within the KZN province, you know, I can say. So yeah, Ngaka, one of the most beautiful films I've watched as a kid. I can't remember most of the scenes. I really have to go back to the movie, but trust you me, it's the most hilarious thing you will ever watch. You know, I think those films don't get old. I think even if you can watch it today, you'll still enjoy it, you still have fun, you'll still be engaged, you know, yeah. So I'd really suggest that you go check out a film called Ngaka. You know, you can find it on the internet somewhere. Have fun, enjoy it, and, you know, drop some comments if you've watched it, and tell me what are your memories, what are your favorite scenes from the movie Ngaka, and what do you remember from it. You know, what are some of the nostalgic things that, you know, that you've carried with yourself ever since. I mean, these are films the same way we used to talk about Yizo during break times and every moment we could at school. Ngaka, Nyaka, we one of those films that they stayed with us, you know, growing up, and they were, you know, they were movies to talk about when you were in school, you know, whenever you with your friends and there was an opportunity to talk about movies. Those are the movies that we spoke about, you know. And I mean, like, these are the first movies, you know, one of the very first movies, you know, with black people staring in them, you know. Of course, others were made before Ngaka, you know, but it's one of those first group films, you know, that were made with black films, you know, because before 1975 or 1970, there weren't really movies with black people in it in South Africa, you know. Yeah, the very first movie that starred black people, it was a movie called Joe Bullet, you know, and it wasn't necessarily the first. I think there was another one before Joe Bullet, but Joe Bullet is mostly remembered as one of the first, you know. But I think what makes Joe Bullet stand out is because it was the first film that starred black people and didn't necessarily depict or reflect black people as they were seen in the real South Africa, you know. For the first time you saw black people in a light of being blockbuster superstars, you know. They could, you know, do karate, they could own businesses, they could drive fancy cars, convertible, resilient cars, and so forth. So yeah, probably we'll talk about Joe Bullet in one of the episodes. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please check out what this film is called, Ngaka, Ngaka, featuring Ndaba Mhlongo, Mshefana himself. Shefi. Thank you guys for watching. Please click the notification bell to get notifications for every video that we put up. And please like this video and subscribe so that we can grow the network. I mean, this is the Ndiya network. Thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Peace out.
Podcast music. I don't need no picture, I don't need no video, I don't need no shit right now. I don't need no picture, I don't need no video, I don't need no shit right now.